Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig Podcast, the Nintendo Switch is officially Nintendo's longest lasting home console. We're going to tell you who is Emio, but also how is Emio, and Game Pass is hella expensive.
Well, if you're new around here, welcome to the Gaming Gig Podcast. This is a viewer-driven gaming podcast. We read and react to your comments that you place on the Gaming Gig polls. Today, we're starting things off. We're talking about the Switch. It is officially the longest-lasting home console from Nintendo. It's crazy. How many days has it been since the Switch launched?
It has been exactly, at the recording of this podcast, 2,690 days since the Switch launched. Now, that is big because the Famicom, or for us American plebeians, was previously Nintendo's longest-lasting home console at 2,686 days. A feeble number, if I do say so myself.
I want to point out, you said the Famicom for us feeble Americans. Didn't tell us what it was actually called in America, which is the Super Nintendo. Well, you know what?
No,
you were on a roll, though. You were cooking. You just left out an ingredient.
And then even when you corrected me, you told them wrong because it's the original Nintendo, not the Super Nintendo.
God, y'all. Okay, sorry.
Now you tell me who's got egg on their face.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. The NES.
Yeah, the Nintendo Entertainment System.
I'll tell you, it's confusing because you got the Famicom and then the Super Famicom. So, the
and
NES,
we have the
Super
Nintendo
NES.
and the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it's the, confusing names. That's why back in the day when you wanted a Super Nintendo, your mom would say, well, you already got a Nintendo at home. You say, but this is the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, they should have called it Super Duper, then moms would have got it.
Yeah, they would have got it if they'd add the duper in there.
The Super Duper Famicom.
So, technically, Nintendo does have a handheld console, the Game Boy, that you could argue has lasted longer than the Switch is currently.
Yeah.
But people argue that that's not exactly true because that involves the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, so the Game Boy, the beloved brick that survives bombings, lasted for 4,352 days.
It's a long time.
Before the Game Boy Advance came out, I flirted with the idea of going in and finding the dates and getting the number on the Game Boy Color. I didn't.
No, Game Boy Color was very short-lived.
Yeah, but when did it come out after the Game Boy? I wanted to know how long did the Game Boy really make it until the Game Boy Color. That would have been a really good statistic to have. We don't have it.
No, we don't have it. But also, Nintendo considers the Game Boy Color to be part of the Game Boy line. That's where people argue, and they say, no, it's not, because the Game Boy Color had exclusive games that were only to it.
It did.
And so it felt more like a next-gen system.
Mm-hmm.
They don't count it that way. They treat it more like it's the new 3DS or like... I don't know, what other kind of pro system have we had? The DSi.
Well, the new
stuff
3DS
like that.
did have some games too. It had about 3 games.
Yeah, and the DSi had some games that were also exclusive to it. So they've done this in the past, and they count them all together. But the Game Boy Color got significantly more exclusive games. That's why people argue that it was a next-gen console.
That's kind of where I fall. I don't think that they should count it all as the same. Well, I really don't. Because there's so many games that you have to play on the Game Boy Color or at least, get increased.
See, the ones that get the increased oomph, I don't think those count. But the ones that are exclusive to the color, like Pokemon, what is it, Crystal? Yeah, like those games, Wario Land 4, like those games, I do feel like they couldn't be played on a Game Boy at all.
Right.
So, I don't know. There's an argument to be made both ways, for sure. But anyways, today we're really focusing on the Nintendo Switch because for sure, at least if you're counting home consoles, the Switch is now the longest lived.
Yeah, but is it really even a home console? Because I can take that some bitch out of my house.
Yeah, and that's another argument I've heard people say is that the Switch shouldn't be considered a home console because really it's just a dockable handheld console.
And, in order to be a home console, I would argue you probably need to be able to run genuine AAA titles.
We're reopening that can of worms, are we?
For those of you who didn't see last week, that was a running bit last week. I actually don't believe that. I love the Switch. I just like to make Randy mad. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled programming.
So, obviously the Switch has been out for a very long time, and we were interested to find out when you guys got your Nintendo Switches, if you got them at all.
Yeah.
So we put out a poll asking when you got your Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, we got ours pretty dang early, but, when did y'all get yours? So 2017 to 2019, is when about 52% of y'all got your Switches. That would be a very early adopter. 2020 to 2022, 19% of you. 2023 to 2024, only 6% of y'all. And 23% of y'all don't have a Switch.
So you can see a clear tapering off of the numbers as the years go by. Now, we got ours. I got mine in 2017. I think you got yours in 2018.
Yeah, I might have been in 2018.
Still, we were fairly early to the Switch. Mm-hmm. In that initial kind of launch timing, or at least the first year, for sure. And, we've had the Switch for a very long time. And because of that, we have many memories tied to it. Played many a game on the old console.
And some big games.
And some genuine AAAs.
Not just mini games.
Oh.
Big games.
Not just mini games. Although the cartridges are quite many.
They are. Mm-hmm. And Randy has many of them.
I have many cartridges.
Mm-hmm. Randy has a lot of physical Switch games.
I do. I love them. I think they're so cool.
If you go over to his house, he'll disappear into his office and he'll come back with this little flip open case and he'll put it in your face and be like, "Look at all these cartridges." It's very reminiscent of the movie Spring Breakers. You ever seen that movie?
No.
There's a scene when I don't remember who the actor is. I should remember, but I don't. Anyway, he has like all his money and stuff like sprawled out on the bed, and he keeps saying, "Look all my crap. Look all my crap. Look all my crap." That's like Randy with Switch games. You walk in and he's like, "Look at all my Switch."
It's speaking of, that's something I've been doing the entire time I've had the Switch is I keep the cartridges in I keep them separate from the cases. I do save the cases. I keep them on the shelf, but I keep the cartridges separate. And I first started with one of those little ones that you buy that only holds maybe like 16.
I have one of those.
Maybe it holds more than 6. No, it's probably around 16, maybe 18. Mm-hmm. But around there, I grew out of those, so I got another, got through 2 of those, and I was like, you know what? I want to get one that holds them all. So I got this big giant thing that holds all these Switch cartridges. Mm-hmm. Recently, I've been thinking about going back to just putting them in their cases. I don't know. I don't know why I started keeping them all together. I think it was when I traveled. It was nice to take them with me.
Yes, I think that's what that was.
But I don't know that I've ever needed to travel and take all my Switch games. Really, I found now when I travel, I take one of those small ones and I just pack, a handful of games.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have one of the small cases, and I'm pretty positive I have more games than it would hold, but I keep a fair amount of them in my Switch case. That does travel, because I pretty much anytime if I'm going out of the house and I actually have a backpack with me, I always either have the Steam Deck or the Switch. Usually the Steam Deck, but if I have the Switch, I've got it in a case and it's got games in it. So it's not my whole library, but it's any games I would want to play at that moment. That's kind of how I do it. But you don't ever leave the house, so for you it's like. Should you just put them in the case? Should you?
I'm thinking about going back and just putting them in their cases.
But it's cool to open that thing up and look at it.
It is cool. It is cool.
And so we're going to settle this right now.
Okay.
Here's what's going to happen, Randy. You're going to keep doing what you're doing. You want to know why? Because it's cool to open them up and look at them, and it's cool to look at them on the shelf. But you can already look at them on the shelf. If you put the cartridges back in those cases, your shelf doesn't look any better. No. But that empty case looks a hell of a lot worse.
True.
Glad we settled that.
Well, going back to memories about the Switch and when people got their Nintendo Switches, we're going to start things off with a comment. This one is from Scared Emerald. Sacred, not scared. This emerald is not scared. It turns out emeralds don't have emotions.
But they do have value.
They can be sacred. Sacred Emerald 70 says, I don't remember which day it was when I got my gray box Nintendo Switch, but I know it was somewhere like the first year when it came out. It was either on my birthday in October or after Christmas, after receiving Christmas money for the first game I got was Mario Kart 8. A couple of years, I upgraded to the Switch OLED 7 months after release. After almost 6 years of having to Switch, it's an amazing console. Maybe it was supposed to be the Switch.
Yeah, I think.
It got me introduced to many new franchises like Xenoblade Chronicles, The Legend of Zelda, Bayonetta, Metroid, and Shin Megami Tensei, and etc.
Yeah, so I included this comment because this young person, I'm assuming you're a young person, just reminded me of myself, and I just loved it. When you used the phrase receiving Christmas money and talked about buying a video game, I was transported back to the freaking 90s. So that's why I had to pick this comment. I just thought it was so wholesome.
Oh, yeah, totally. And it's like saying, I I love that the Switch, and that has been such an introduction point to many legendary Nintendo franchises, because virtually every single of Nintendo's franchises are represented at least in some way on the Switch.
Yeah.
With some exceptions. You probably have one in mind. I don't know.
I'm just laughing about Donkey Kong.
Okay, well, we've gotten Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which is a port, but it's there. It's represented in some way.
And we're getting a second
And we're
installment.
getting another return. What is it? Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
Return to Dreamland.
Exactly. But it has been the introduction to many people. Like this Legend of Zelda. First time many people played Legend of Zelda was Breath of the Wild, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Switch kind of brought. I mean, I wasn't completely out, but I had a foot out of gaming. At the time.
Me too, for sure.
The Switch kind of brought us back, and I think I've heard that from a lot of people, and I just love that. It brought people not only back to gaming, it might have made them gamers for the first time, and then they get to play all these great franchises like Zelda and Metroid and Bayonetta and not Donkey Kong, but that's okay.
Indirectly, the Switch kind of made us big Metroid fans. Like I played Metroid as a child, was very, very bad at it, so I never really enjoyed it very much.
And I played a little Metroid Prime as a child, and it was way too heady for me.
All right. But, the Switch kind of got us back, because when Metroid Dread got announced, we're like, let's go back and play all the 2D Metroids leading up to it. And then we were super excited about it. Metroid Prime, the first time I had ever played Metroid Prime was on the Switch.
Yep. First time I ever finished it was on the Switch.
I mean, the Switch has been so great. This comment also brought up Bayonetta. I had never played a Bayonetta game, and I played all 3 Bayonetta games on the Switch. It's fantastic. I love Bayonetta, and I never would have played. I would have never even thought about playing Bayonetta if it wasn't for the Switch.
Right, and you've always said you're going to try Xenoblade. I'm still waiting on that.
I'm tempted, and it's because of these same reasons. It's like, I don't know. It's the Switch just does something to it. It makes me want to try stuff. I like that about it.
Yeah, I agree. It's very accessible. It's that's a good point. It makes you want to try stuff. When something's on Switch, I do give it like a second look. It
really is. All right, let's read our next comment. We got one from Mew. Hit us with Mew.
All right, so
Mewtwo.
Yeah, Mewtwo, in the middle of this mewing session said, I bought one in 2017 and sold it in 2018. I bought a second one in 2018 and gave it to someone in 2022 and replaced it with a Switch OLED. I ended up selling that in 2023 and getting a Switch Lite in 2023. I then bought another Switch in 2024 to replace my Switch Lite. And I love your Switch journey, because what other console has inspired people to buy so many different maybe versions or variants than the Switch, because it's got the portable thing going for it, So it's just people view it differently. Like we both had multiple Switches.
Yeah. I think we both had 3 Switches. A regular Switch. I didn't do the red box upgrade. That's one I state that I did not do. I did not do a red box upgrade. I stuck with my original Switch. I guess the gray box or whatever it is. I don't know if it's gray box or white box or whatever.
My original Switch might have been red box.
I don't remember when they did the red box Switch.
I don't either.
See, that's a good idea to tell when you got into it. I got mine back when red box wasn't a thing. But the red box had better battery life. That was something I did not get into.
2019?
No, you definitely didn't get it in 20, because you got yours in 2018.
We could figure out, when did the Smash Ultimate trailer come out?
Yeah, because that's when you bought a Switch. It was when the trailer for Smash Ultimate got announced. When Smash Ultimate was announced, Daniel was like, okay, fine, I'm buying a Switch.
It was announced on November 1st, 2018. I probably bought mine before the end of the year.
No, I think it was announced. Oh, okay. It was released in February? Okay. Interesting.
I may have skewed all the way to a red box. It's possible.
When did the red box come out?
August of 2019.
No, you didn't wait. You didn't wait months after Smash came out.
I got Smash on release, so yeah, I guess I didn't have a red box.
No, you didn't.
Glad we figured that out.
So, yeah.
But then we got our OLEDs.
Got OLEDs. Yeah, we got Switch Lite. No, you're leaving out the Switch Lite.
I was going to come back to it. Okay. Did I get that? I thought I got my Switch Lite after the OLED.
No, Switch Lite came before OLED. Switch Lite came out. You got a Switch Lite. I did not.
Yeah.
But I think you may have gotten your Switch Lite later, because you didn't get it at launch. You waited quite a while, and you bought a used Switch Lite.
I did. I bought a used Switch Lite. I thought it was super cool, but then, I guess it was before the OLED, because I remember when the OLED came out, eventually I was like, okay, I love the way the Switch Lite feels, but every time I play the OLED, I'm like, why am I not playing this?
Right. Yeah.
So that's when I ended up trading that Switch Lite to Randy. So we've both had the same Switch Lite, but we both had 3 Switches between us. We've never had a special edition Switch.
No, but that's the thing. Like, there have been tons of special edition Switches. People have bought multiple. I don't hardly know anyone who has a Switch who at least hasn't considered getting another Switch in some way.
Yeah.
And it's also great because the Switch Lite plays a very different role than the regular Switch. If you have multiple people in your family, it can be great to have multiple. The way you can be playing multiple games at the same time. You can kind of have your own Switch, especially that Switch Lite.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Switch Lite's great. It's great for kids. And if you have multiple kids, it seems like an obvious choice.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
To me.
It's very affordable, compared to like something like the PlayStation 5 or something,
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised they never did an OLED Switch Lite.
Yeah, that was always rumored that there was going to be an OLED Switch Lite. That was the big rumors, an OLED Switch Lite and a Switch Pro. We never got either of those things.
Yeah.
Maybe in an alternate universe we got both.
I think we probably did.
But not in this one. All right, we got another comment here. This one's from J.I. Pillow, who said, 1 month before COVID shutdowns, saying they got their Switch then. Breath of the Wild got me through the first 6 months of working from home. And I'll tell you, this was one of my favorite comments from this poll, because thinking about Breath of the Wild getting you through something like very much touches home to me, because I definitely, like, when I was teaching in public schools, I did not like my job, and it was a rough time for me. But the one thing I had during that was the Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild, because I bought my Switch pretty much as I started my job.
Right.
And so it was like my thing, my outlet. And so that was huge for me. So Breath of the Wild definitely got me through some stuff too. But also, I think it's not just me, but like you, pretty much everyone I know, the Nintendo Switch got them through the beginning of the lockdowns and COVID, specifically with Animal Crossing.
Yeah, everybody that we are like Switch friends with basically was playing Animal Crossing, and it seemed like the whole world was.
Yeah,
and it was such a neat thing to feel like you were together on this one thing, even though the whole world was telling everybody like you literally cannot be together.
Yes, and we could visit each other's islands and hang out together. It really was like the perfect game at the perfect time. And the game was delayed. And I think about that sometimes. So like that game was supposed to be a holiday release. It was supposed to come out like 4-5 months before it actually did. And I think, like, what if it hadn't got delayed? It would have been the game would have been could have been almost dead by the point that eventually did get released.
It definitely wouldn't have had this like moment.
No.
Like Animal Crossing, was it New Horizons? What's it called?
Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Yeah. That game has like a place in history that it probably wouldn't have had, if it had come out when it initially was supposed to.
No, and it was such a thing. Like, I remember us talking about it back in 2020. We were like, it's crazy to go on and see so many people of our friends online all together on the Switch. It was just so... there had never been a time before that was like it, and there was no time after that has happened again.
No.
It was only in that moment that everyone was playing the Switch. Everyone was playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah, they really were. It was cool.
Wild.
I mean, you could text, we texted all our friends I would text multiple people about like the prices on the stock market and like just all this crazy bull crap, like, that was really cool, and I really don't have any desire to play it now. But at the time, it was just the perfect game.
Do you have any memories of games besides Animal Crossing? I mean, now obviously Animal Crossing hit at the perfect time, and it was a big game for everybody. But
definitely.
Any other games that come to your mind as being, ones that got you through? Like, man.
Not necessarily Switch games.
Oh, okay.
The game that I thought of, because I read your comment, on that comment, talking about Breath of the Wild. And, one game that kind of comes to mind for me that I wasn't necessarily working a new job or anything like that, but I remember, I can't even remember the details of exactly what was going on, but I remember like I wasn't exactly in the best headspace when I was playing Chrono Trigger. I remember that. And I loved Chrono Trigger so much. And I do kind of regard it as one of those games that just kind of, it was a nice distraction. And games are just great for that. You know, I didn't even play that on Switch because you can't.
No, you can't play Chrono Trigger on Switch at all, I guess, right? They've not released it at all. That is wild. They should. What a missed opportunity. Maybe they've been planning on doing this remake and they just haven't been able to get it out in time.
Yeah, I don't know. That's insane to me that you can't even like access it at all on the Switch. It is literally my favorite game of all time, and it's crazy to me that it can't be on the damn Switch. But it's on the internet. Anyway, moving on.
All right, we got one more comment relating to when people got their Nintendo Switches. Hit us with this one from KDB, Danny boy.
KDB QR9JH said, that freaking rolled off the tongue, said, I had to wait 2 years after release to get one, and it was definitely worth it. Sadly, I lost it to a crazy taxi a couple months later, got a new one, and now currently have an OLED. And all I have to say is, thank God for that taxi, because now you have an OLED.
Yeah, I mean, like, who knows? You may have just stuck with your original Switch if you hadn't lost it in that taxi.
God, that'd be misery and woe.
I would think about how disappointed you'd be if you lost your gaming console in a taxi.
I would be pissed. Yeah. I would be scouring the area for that taxi. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should just Velcro an AirTag to it.
Well, before we move on to the next topic, if you guys are watching this on the YouTube version, make sure to leave us a comment. Let us know when you got your Switch, if you have any great Switch memories.
Yeah.
You know, I love reading that kind of stuff because the Switch is my favorite console of all time.
Mine too.
And it warms my heart to know that, you know, other people have been affected by it in the same way that I have.
Yeah.
You know, positively, obviously.
I agree.
Maybe you have a negative experience with Switch. Tell us that too, because there are people who don't like the Switch.
Maybe you never got a grip and your thumbs fell off.
That could have happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would have arthritis if I didn't buy a Switch grip or something.
The Switch grip,
man,
is a game changer.
It is a freaking game changer.
Once you get one, you can't go back. So unless you don't want to go back, don't get one. Because if you get one, you're never going to play your Switch without it.
Never. And why would you? We're not sponsored at all, but you need to go buy a damn Satisfy grip.
The Satisfy is my favorite. There are many options out there, and you've tried a number of them, and I've tried them through you. Mm-hmm. You know, I've tried
the Skull & Co. is the other one that I tried that I really like, and it's excellent. But the Satisfy is so much better.
Yeah, the Satisfy is the way to go, and I like the split pad. Like that's a pretty decent choice. The benefit of that is you get big sticks, which some people really really like, but. To me, it's still not as good as.
Well, you miss out on the HD rumble, and you miss out on the gyro. Mm-hmm. And you know the gyro, especially, I really like. So that's why I kind of moved from the split pad.
And the split pad is very light, and it feels a little cheap. I mean, the sticks don't really feel cheap. The buttons don't really feel cheap, but
it's just not
the
weighty.
Unit in itself is very light, and it just feels kind of cheap.
It literally weighs negative weight.
I still think Nintendo missed out an opportunity of making an official like split Pro controller.
Yeah.
That would have been fantastic.
Why did they not do that? Why?
I don't know.
Why didn't you do that?
Like, it would have been great.
What is wrong with them? And
they probably could have charged a premium for it. It would have been more expensive than a regular Pro controller for sure.
Oh, they could have charged like $80 for that thing. Yeah. Like, no problem. Mm-hmm. I'd write them a check right now. I don't really need it.
I don't know how much it costs for 2 Joy-Con. It's probably not far off from $80. To be
probably not. They might have charged $100 for that split Pro controller.
They probably could have.
Yeah. All right. So before we move on, I just want to tell you, if you enjoy what you're seeing, you'll love what you see over on Twitch, because we're only slightly unhinged right now. But when you get on Twitch, Randy lets it roll, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, and I didn't mean to buddy you, but you need to go watch us on Twitch. We stream on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, and occasionally a Friday or Saturday.
Basically most days. And we start at 8 p.m. Eastern. So come hang out with us on Twitch. There is a link to our Twitch channel in the description of wherever you are watching or consuming this podcast.
That's right. So our next topic is hashtag Who is Emio, Randy?
Hashtag Who is Emio? This is crazy, y'all. So Nintendo dropped a 15-second trailer, right? And it's just a complete teaser. Out of nowhere, no one knows anything about it, so all we have are guesses.
It's 15 seconds long. I don't know if you said that.
I did say that.
Okay, sorry. I just want to emphasize, it's short.
It's very short. And so everyone on the internet is just trying to figure out what this is. And there are some theories. I've heard some theories. I have my own theories. Do you have any theories of your own?
Well, I don't really have theories as much as I have more questions.
You have more questions.
Okay, so, it didn't take Nintendo very long. They actually updated the description of the video, and all it says is hashtag who is Emio, which led me to wonder not only how is Emio, but where is Emio?
You want to know who, how, and where.
And when is Emio?
When is Emio?
All these things I feel like are questions deserving of answers, and we have none to give.
We really don't. But we put out a poll, kind of giving some of the vague things. Basically, the poll said, who is Emio?
Yeah.
And the options were a new horror IP from Nintendo, or maybe it's a third-party game that Nintendo is just publishing, or maybe it's something else.
Right.
28% of people said it's a new horror IP from Nintendo. 59% of people said it's a third-party game that Nintendo is publishing, and then 13% of people went with the something else option.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
I mean, what is Emio? I don't know, guys. I don't know what this is. It's very intriguing, and I really like that it exists. I'll say that right off the bat.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like a first-party Nintendo thing. It doesn't just drip with Nintendo swag.
No, it ain't got that Nintendo charm, does it?
No. But that doesn't mean that Nintendo couldn't be pivoting in a new direction for a game. It's also M-rated.
We know it's M-rated, right? Because we got a rating, because I think it was the Australian trailer had to have the rating.
And so it's like 18 plus for across the pond or whatever.
I don't think it was 18 plus. I think it was 16 plus. But I may be wrong about that. Either way, it is meant for mature audiences, and very rarely does Nintendo publish a game that is intended for mature audiences.
It's an 18 rating for the PE for PEGI.
For PEGI, okay.
Yeah.
So this is wild. I hope, personally, I really do hope that this is just a Nintendo developed and published horror game.
Yeah.
Because that would be so out of left field that it would be a moment. Because we've had Nintendo publish horror games, but they've never in-house developed one, at least that I'm aware of. They may have, but I'm pretty sure all the ones that they've published, like Fatal Frame and stuff, those have been done by third-party studios.
Yeah.
So I think it's more likely that that's what this is. That this is a third-party game that Nintendo is publishing a horror game.
Yeah, I think that is a respectable guess, and wrong.
Okay.
Emio, I'm going to tell you who Emio is. You ready? Emio is the new Nintendo mascot. Okay? Mario is old news. Mario's on the way out. We all know that. Nobody liked Mario Wonder. Mario Odyssey didn't sell. Nintendo's moving on. Okay? Emio is the new face of Nintendo. It's going to be a launch title for the successor to the Nintendo Switch. And actually, under the bag, which we haven't been able to see yet, this guy has a bag on his face. Under the bag is actually just a console. He's a console head. You know what I'm saying? And
that's the Switch 2 under that bag.
It's the successor to the Nintendo Switch. Please watch your verbiage. That's really the only reasonable assumption here.
This is
tied to the announcement of new hardware.
So it's very reminiscent of those commercials that Sony did for the PlayStation 3 that had the baby, the weird little baby in the middle of the room.
That's ridiculous.
It's like that, but
it's nothing like that.
It's like Emio. Emio is going to be the spokesperson for the successor to the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, Emio is kind of be like Astrobot for PlayStation.
This is quite the move. If this is their decision that they're going to use Emio to help sell consoles, I'm not sure. I think it's a great move, but you know what?
Yeah.
It's something that people are going to notice.
Well, did you enjoy Mario Wonder?
Personally, I loved Mario Wonder.
Did you like Mario Odyssey?
I loved Mario
You are
Odyssey.
literally the only person on the planet that said yes to both those questions.
Yeah. But I also think I could dig me some Emio. Have you seen all the things? There's all kinds of this. There's fan art. There are people calling for Emio in Smash now.
Yeah, I started that.
You started that?
Yeah. No, I hadn't heard that, but that sounds freaking awesome. I would love this, like, bag wearing freak in Smash.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack and Dexter be, or not Jack and Dexter, sorry, Ratchet and Clank be damned.
Yeah.
I want Emio.
Yeah, give us Emio and Smash.
I really want Ratchet and Clank, by the way.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be such a sick crossover. Should I break character here just so I don't, I mean, do people know I'm kidding?
I'm sure people know you're kidding. Yeah.
Then I'm not going to
Yeah, people obviously know you're joking.
Okay, well, I'm not joking about anything, just so you know. We got a comment from, oh man, did I include 2 from Japillo?
You did.
Well, you know what, Japillo? I try not to do that. You slipped through the cracks. I'm sorry, but I loved what you said. Real footage of Nintendo lawyers going after emulators.
Yeah, I saw many people saying that like this is what the Nintendo Ninjas look like. It's pretty funny. I mean,
Did you see his long little fingies?
No, I didn't notice the long little fingies.
There's a one little brief frame of his long little fingies.
They can't be long and little fingies. They just got to be long fingies. You can't have long little fingies. That's
you
an
obviously
oxymoron.
didn't catch it. Okay, you didn't see it in the trailer, so take it from somebody who did. He's got long little fingies.
Okay, they're both long and little. They're both stumpy and very long at the same time.
Well, I don't feel that this is the place to comment on the girth of his fingers.
Okay, so. Next comment about this old Emio thing. We got one from Rainball, who said, "My theory is this is how they're gonna bring back one of their franchises they've left behind, like F-Zero."
I think that's reasonable.
Is that reasonable?
Yes,
really?
I think that's completely we are in uncharted territory, Randy. There is no precedent that has been set.
You think gonna tear the bag off and it's gonna be Captain Falcon under there?
That's ridiculous. No.
That would be pretty,
that's exactly what's going to happen.
That would be pretty funny.
What's going to happen is you're going to boot up Emio, right? You're going to boot it up in your successor to the Nintendo Switch, and you're going to press start, and all you're going to hear is Falcon Punch, and then all of a sudden you get hit with this like badass freaking music, and you're playing F-Zero.
They're just going to bait and switch.
Because they have such little confidence in how F-Zero will sell that they're going to market it in a completely deceitful manner.
Yes.
Their rating's not even right.
The rating's not right, yeah.
F-Zero's not M-rated.
This one is.
Yeah. Oh, I'd play that.
No, it's all M-rated because the opening, it like starts off with an opening cutscene that is just super gory and terrible, and then it's F-Zero from then on out.
And then Captain Falcon comes in and Falcon punches Emio, and all of a sudden it's his game.
I think it would be funnier if pulled the bag off the head and it is Captain Falcon.
Maybe Falcon punches Emio and then pulls the bag off of him, and it's Falcon again, like some Scooby-Doo shit.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's something they'd do in Scooby-Doo.
It's totally something they would do.
Like Shaggy take down a villain and pull off the bag, and it's Shaggy. Or then Shaggy pulls his mask off, and it's Fred,
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
They loved the masks in that show.
Absolutely.
They loved the mask. All right,
we never talk about Scooby-Doo. Did you watch Scooby-Doo as a kid? Because I did.
Totally.
Yeah, me too.
Totally. We were of that era.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I feel like multiple generations were of that era because Scooby-Doo was timeless. I don't think it's around much anymore, although I do think they did try to reboot it not too long ago, but I think it was bad.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the reboot. I know that they have Shaggy in that horrible Smash ripoff. And that's all I know.
Oh, they do. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to move on to our next topic. But first, I want to tell you guys about our Discord channel. I'll tell you, we would absolutely love it if you would join our Discord, not channel, I'm sorry, server. I said channel. I'm wrong about that. We have an invite link, and look, it's just a cool place to hang out with some other like-minded gamers. We talk about video games. We talk about these topics kind of throughout the week, kind of leading up to the podcast. But it's also a good place to find out when we go live on Twitch. If you have any games that you've been playing that you're really jazzed about and you want to tell people about, we have game recommendation channels.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of stuff. It's just a cool place.
If you know who Emio is, you can come tell us. We'll make a channel for that shit too.
And I'll tell you, one of the coolest things about it is it's one of the most welcoming servers. Like, no joke. It really is. Like, when people join,
no cap,
they're very welcomed. Like, it is not one of those servers. Everyone's joined a Discord server when they go in there and they're like, they feel like they just don't have a place there. Like, everything, the conversation's been going.
Yeah.
You feel like you just, like you're not involved. Like, you don't want to just put yourself in. Our server, for some reason, just doesn't feel that way.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And I know exactly what you're talking about. I've joined many a server and I'm just like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't do it. You know. But our server is not that way. So you know, y'all get over there and say hello.
The people there love new people, for real.
Yes.
Okay. Daniel.
Randy.
Did you hear about Xbox raising the price of Game Pass again?
What?
Yeah, not only that. Okay, no, but seriously.
Is this Emio related?
It's not Emio related at all. I don't
Oh.
think Emio has anything to do with the price. But what they've done is, okay, they're raising the price of Game Pass. That's kind of not unexpected because every service like Netflix, Hulu, you know, everything's going up in price. So that's not crazy. What's interesting about this is they're getting rid of a tier and they're replacing it with another tier.
Yeah.
And the tier they're getting rid of was a tier called Game Pass for Console. And we'll talk about that in a second. And they're replacing it with something called Game Pass Standard. And very importantly, this new tier that they're adding, Game Pass Standard, it'll be the first time ever with a Game Pass tier that wasn't the core, but like one of the higher end ones, where you have no access to new games day one.
Yeah. And that's like something that they have hinged their marketing for Game Pass upon.
Totally.
For a very long time.
It's all about playing games day one.
Absolutely. The games, you know, you see game after game when we like watch an announcement or watch a presentation or whatever that says play day one on Game Pass. It's almost more common to see it than not see it.
Right.
So this is pretty big, and I think some people are pissed about it, and you know, I think they have good reason.
Oh yeah, I mean, I put out a video about this, and the conversation around this topic was so toxic.
Yeah.
That I actually like unlisted those videos because it just was like the conversation was seriously so toxic.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of people being confused about what was happening here. And a lot of people, you know, not understanding what Game Pass for Console was.
Yeah.
And what this new tier that they're adding in, how it's really like worse but more expensive at the same time. I mean, it was just a whole thing. So we'll get into that now and talk about it.
Now, I did read that that you can be grandfathered in.
You are grandfathered in.
Yeah.
That was part of it. Yes, that is definitely part of it. Because this is really affecting new subscribers, not old subscribers. So if you've had, like, say you signed up for 12 months of Game Pass for Console, you're still going to get that. You know, they're not like ripping it away from you.
But if your recurring payment ends for some reason, you're done.
You're done. Yeah. Yeah. If you cancel or if your reoccurring payment ends, you're moving on to the replacement for it's going to be Game Pass Standard. And so basically, we've got now Game Pass is so confusing because there are so many tiers. But let's break it down from cheapest tier to most expensive tier and what you get for those.
Okay.
And what they cost. What the new prices are.
So at the bottom of the barrel, you have your Game Pass Core. Okay, Game Pass Core gives you 25 plus?
Yeah, just 25 games.
That's it?
Yeah.
Holy crap, I didn't even realize that it was that few.
Yes.
25 plus high quality games on console, online console multiplayer, members, deals, and discounts.
So basically,
That's it.
You're getting online.
You get your Xbox.
Online multiplayer.
You got Xbox Live.
Yeah, basically. And you get access to 25 games that you can play. Or 25 plus. It's probably like 27 games. Maybe it's 26.
Do we know what these games are?
Yeah. I
Okay.
There are a lot of Xbox first party games.
Yeah.
Games like Fallout 4.
Starfield?
I don't think
You play
Starfield's on there.
Starfield?
No.
What about Redfield?
No.
Okay.
They should put it on there. But it's a lot of like older Xbox legacy games.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So that's your tier.
I'm pretty sure like a Gears game is there. Like there's stuff like that.
That's your tier if you need to be able to play your Xbox online.
Yeah, and
basically.
that tier is $9.99. Okay, so the next up would be the tier that they're getting rid of, which was Game Pass for Console. Now that tier did not give you online multiplayer. Okay, but what it did give you was access on your console to all of the Game Pass games in that you can play on console, which are hundreds of games. So, and you got those games day one.
Right.
And now this tier was also $9.99, but they had bumped it up not too long back to $10.99. So they bumped it up $1. So it was only $1 more than Xbox Core. So really, if you wanted to play those games and play online multiplayer, you had to have both core and console, which at that point you might as well go. So they were really trying to push you towards Game Pass Ultimate. Yes.
Yeah.
And let's go over Game Pass Ultimate now.
Okay. So Game Pass Ultimate gives you, well, it gives you everything. So it gives you your day one releases. It gives you hundreds of high quality games on console and PC. Your multiplayer, deals, discounts, EA Play membership, hello, cloud gaming, and free perks every month. And it looks to me like that's the only tier, except for maybe one other that we'll get to, that gives you your cloud gaming.
No, it's the only tier that gives you.
You can't do it on PC?
No.
Okay.
You cannot. It's only Game Pass Ultimate. So Game Pass Ultimate is basically gives you it gives you the Game Pass library on console and PC, and it lets you cloud game, and it has all kinds of things. You get EA Play, you get all kinds of stuff. It's basically the Mac Daddy one. It's the one that you want. That one is going up to $20 a month.
Yeah.
So you can see that that's where they want you. They want you at Game Pass Ultimate, and they're trying to make all the lower tiers just like almost not worth it. In my opinion, I think this is what they're doing.
That's how it feels.
They're trying to make it so that you're like, man, for just a little bit more, I can just get the whole thing, and like these lower tiers just don't feel worth it because they don't want it to feel worth it. They want you to go for that highest tier.
And $20 a month. I mean that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
For the course of a year,
many
that's
people
a
would
fair
argue.
amount.
Yeah, many people would argue that it's still worth it, and I'm not going to argue that it's not worth it. For myself personally, it's not worth it, but for some people, I could see it being worth it.
Yeah, if you like to play a lot of games, maybe you're a diehard Xbox dude, and you want those day one releases. You want to play the big games, and obviously you play your COD online and such. Maybe that's worth it if all the games you want to play are there.
Yeah, that's the thing for me is like, I don't mind if I could pay $20 a month and play, and not own the games, but get to play whatever games I wanted, I would do it. But the fact that I have to choose from a curated list, and oftentimes the games that I want to play are maybe new releases on Nintendo, new releases on PlayStation, so they're just not there.
Yeah.
So,
well, that just goes back to what we've been saying about Xbox for the whole generation, is that they don't have the games.
Right. Yeah.
And if you don't have games, I'm probably not going to pay you $20.
I mean, they have third-party games.
Yeah, I know,
but
so do other places.
Yeah. Yes.
That also have first-party games. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Right. So the thing that tears me up about this is that
what tears you up, dude? What burns your business?
I mean, I shouldn't say it tears me up, but what is annoying is that for new subscribers, and it is important to state that it is for new subscribers only. If they want to play brand new games day one on console, they have to get Game Pass Ultimate as your only option now on console. Now on PC, there is Game Pass for PC, which is $12 a month.
Yeah,
and that will get you access to new games on PC, but I'm specifically talking about console here. So, and that used to be $10 for Game Pass for console. Yeah. Now Game Pass Ultimate is $20. So that's like basically like if you want access to new games, you're paying twice what you used to have to pay.
Yeah, they're essentially funneling you into a subscription that is double the price.
Yes, and so that is. To me, that is what sucks because it feels like a slap in the face to console players, saying like, "Hey, if you're on console, you kind of feel like you're getting screwed."
Yeah.
Whereas people on PC, they're paying the cheaper price and they still get the day one games.
Yeah, Xbox has essentially propped up the PC master race here.
Well, it feels like they don't. It's almost like they don't want you playing on console. It almost feels. I know that they do want you playing on console, but all their advertisement has been about, like recently, it's been all about how you don't need an Xbox to play Xbox, and it almost feels now that they're saying like, we don't want you to have an Xbox to play Xbox.
Right, and we've been saying for a long time that Xbox seems to do some really pro-consumer things with letting you access all these games on all these different platforms and really just not limiting you there. This maybe doesn't feel that way, but have they built up enough good faith? No, because they don't have any games.
No, yeah, I agree. I think that, and it sucks because I do think that the the Game Pass concept is super pro-consumer.
Yeah.
Once you hit a certain price, though, it no longer feels that way. And I don't know that we're there yet, but we're getting awful close.
Well, the reason that I got off the Game Pass train is because I realized that I was just paying a subscription to play Sea of Thieves.
Yes.
Right? So if you fall into a trap like that, now you're paying even more. Like that. And that's what a subscription is for. They want you to forget that you're paying for it and just let it roll forever. Right? Now they get even more cash for it. So
now, we didn't talk about Game Pass Standard. We didn't talk about that one, and that one's the new one. It's actually not out yet. It's rolling out in September.
Yeah.
And this one gets you that Game Pass console library, hundreds of games. You can play all those games. And it gets you online multiplayer. So, like that, in a way, it kind of feels like they've added value to it. But the fact that the big drawback here is that you will not get those brand new day one games, and they happen to have this big game called Call of Duty Black Ops 6 coming out, and people on Game Pass Standard will not have access to that game.
Man, I hadn't heard about that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're a COD guy or gal,
and Game Pass Standard,
no
Game Pass Standard is going to be $15 a month. So at that point, it feels like they really just don't want you signing up for it because they want you to pay the extra $5 and get Game Pass Ultimate, which is objectively, in my mind, a much better deal.
And then you're doing the mental gymnastics of like, okay, I'm saving maybe $5. No, is it $4 or $5?
It's $5
okay,
less.
$5 less. So I'm saving $5. I can just buy Call of Duty, right? Spend $70 on Call of Duty. Well, now you've saved, or it'll take you 70 divided by 5 to recoup that cost,
months.
right?
It'll take you 14 months, which is a year and 2 months.
Now, if that's the only game you're going to play, cool. But if you think like, well, I want to play something else that comes out on day one, then you got to weigh that against it. And it just becomes too complicated, and you're like, hell, take $5.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they want. Don't do it.
Well,
Your phone has a calculator. Use it.
I mean, but really, though, it's like, it is very tough. And so we put out a poll, with the new tier system, core, PC, standard, ultimate, those 4 options, and asked, which tier of Game Pass would you choose?
Yeah.
Here's with the results.
At 19%, people said, I will pay $9.99 and get core. At 23%, people said, I'm just going to, prop up the PC Master Race for $12 a month. 7% said standard, which is $15 a month. And then for $20 a month, 52% said, screw it, take my money, I will take Xbox Ultimate. Game Pass Ultimate. And the Ultimate Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
To me, this poll is very telling because it shows that like this new tier that they're introducing, everyone knows already this is a useless tier.
Yep.
Like if you're going to buy it, you might as well get Ultimate. And it was already like Game Pass for console already felt like it maybe wasn't that useful because it didn't have online multiplayer, but at least it was only around $10. I think, like I said, it went up to $10.99, $10 or $11.
Yeah.
So at least it was cheaper. At least you could argue that, like, it's a fair bit cheaper. I may not have access to online multiplayer, but if I'm just playing games by myself, I still have hundreds of games to play. Most of these don't have online multiplayer anyway. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
The argument for Game Pass Standard is much weaker.
Very.
I mean,
very
it's
much
like
weaker.
It's like for like the person who wants the Game Pass library but doesn't want the new games. Which that's kind of in my mind the whole point of Game Pass was like you get the new games, like that's the allure of it.
That is the allure of it. And as somebody who just by the day just converts more and more over to a PC gamer, I see the PC tier and I'm like, well, that's not that bad.
No,
but not everybody already has a gaming PC. Like if you don't have a gaming PC, that's not even an option for you. So.
And what's crazy is like even more than that, the PC tier at $12 a month, people say, oh, the reason that's so cheap is because you don't have to pay for online. So like that you can take that out of the equation. But why are we paying for online on consoles anyway?
Yeah.
It's because of Xbox. Because Xbox set it as a precedent back in the Xbox 360 era.
Yeah. And
now everyone just does it because it's been accepted. We need to not accept paying for online on consoles. It is ridiculous.
Well, we need to stop then. Let's go ahead and cancel our NSO family plan.
Yeah, I mean, like, it sucks. It really sucks because everyone does it. If Nintendo would be brave enough to Switch 2 or the successor to the Nintendo Switch.
What in the...
If they would go into it and say, look, online's going to be free, I mean, They did that with the Switch, but only for a limited time.
Yeah, they're not going to flip back.
No, I don't think they will, but I wish they would, because it would be such a great move. It's so pro-consumer, and in every way, Xbox is typically pretty pro-consumer in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those instances where it's like they're not about this.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of their first big non-pro-consumer moves.
Mm-hmm.
But why would Xbox then follow Nintendo's lead and be like, you know what, our online's free too? They're the ones who did it in the first place. Yeah. And I don't even remember, like, historically there being that much blowback. Like, everybody... I remember growing up and everybody was just like, yeah, I've got Xbox Live.
It was
no, I got to get another card for my birthday.
You know, things were so new back then, like playing Halo online with your buds was such a novel experience that it felt like, okay, maybe I can understand I need to pay for this access.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that way anymore. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
And so many games, if they're free to play, generally you don't have to pay for the online, which is... Okay, if you don't have to pay for online to play free-to-play games, why do you have to pay for online for a game that you actually had to pay for? You had spent money to play the game, but still they charge you even more to play it online. It just doesn't make any sense at all. To me, it should be the opposite. Games that you paid for, you free online. The free games you have to pay to play. That would make more sense in my mind.
Listen, Randy is worked up about something when he starts getting loud.
It's seriously though, it doesn't. It makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense, and it's another reason that the PC is the master race that it is.
And the thing is, it's because PC players from day one said no, we're not going to pay for online access, so it just never happened.
Yeah,
it's because PC was around first, and no one ever paid to play an online game, but someone could have done it.
Yeah,
theoretically, you could have seen a game come out. Mm-hmm. And it'd be like, hey, to play our game online, you need to pay a subscription. PC players just wouldn't pay for that.
What if Valve, had been like, you got to buy Steam Platinum. You got to throw us some cash every month to play any Steam game online.
Like if you're going to play Counter-Strike, you got to pay a subscription. People would be pissed.
Yeah.
I just don't know. And it's all just like... It's such a racket because I know they have to pay for servers and stuff, but this is probably one of their biggest money makers. It's probably one of the lowest cost, highest earning things that, and it's not we're talking about Xbox because that's the conversation this week, but it's not just Xbox. It's Xbox, it's PlayStation, it's Nintendo. They all do it.
Yep, they do, and it's a racket. And some of them make it a better value than others by including this or not including that, but it shouldn't be around. I agree.
Well, I'm sorry I got us so off topic here. Let's go back to these new Xbox tiers and which one people will be going with. We got a comment here from D1 Usions of Grandeur who said, we only need one that has online and day one games. But since Microsoft doesn't want to give me that much, only option is to pay more for a bunch of things I don't need and go with Ultimate.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They win.
It's like they do give you, if you want the online and day one, the only option is Ultimate.
Yeah.
You can have online and the old games, or you can have just online. Mm-hmm. But the only way to get them all is if you pay for Ultimate. And they know that, like, console players, they're limited. You think that
just happened by chance? You think they maybe, didn't realize, Microsoft, that they left such a glaring weakness in these tiers? Do you think that maybe they'll change when they realize how that this glaring omission?
No, yeah, it's definitely not changing. This is definitely on purpose.
Yeah,
and it's because they know that console players are tied down to the console. They don't have the option to go anywhere else because typically, a bulk of console players, they only have one console. Generally, most people out there, they have their one console and that is it, and they don't have another option.
Yeah,
it's not like. Me and you who are we're mad at what's going on Xbox. We just go play it on our PlayStation or our PC or our Switch. Mm-hmm. Most people don't have that luxury and they know it.
Well, yeah. When we were growing up, we wouldn't have had that luxury.
No.
So, they know what they're doing. They didn't become one of the most valuable companies in the world.
I think they are.
Accident.
I think they are.
I don't think they are. I think they're number two. Man, I'm pretty sure Apple's number one again.
Oh, okay.
I don't think
for a time Microsoft was the number one most profitable company in the entire world.
But I think it was only like
a
very short time.
Short period of time.
Yeah, I don't think it. I may be completely wrong on
when
that.
they spent $70 billion on Activision, it probably hurt them a little bit.
Probably brought their worth down, $70 billion or so. But
no, I mean it probably helped them because it's always good. Investors love it when you buy big companies.
Acquire.
Yeah, they love it when you acquire.
Well, if I'm wrong, if they are number one, tell us because I don't feel like looking it up right now.
They're one of them.
Yeah, they are.
They're one of the most successful companies in the world, and they're doing this, and it feels like they're just like, I don't know. And we've talked so much about how pro-consumer they are. That's what hurts even more.
Yeah, but what we also said about all those pro-consumer things?
What?
They're not that they're not being successful because of it.
True.
But we also always loop that back to the fact that they're just not putting out the games. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know that we've been contradictory. I think we're in the right, Randy.
Okay.
All right, we got a comment here from Wow Pro Beast, who said, buying my games from Steam either for sale or full price as it's a better deal than Game Pass. Let me spend $60 for 3 months Game Pass to play one game or pay $60 or less because sales for one game that I play for 3 months and can come back to it later. What if I come back and they don't have the license anymore? I will always prefer owning the game than having to pay so much to lease it. Most games on Game Pass are dog anyways. They are on there because the initial sales ended and the company needed more money or they weren't going to sell at all, so they put them on Game Pass to collect some passive income off it. Cough, cough, Starfield, cough, cough.
I mean, there are some interesting observations here. I don't know that I agree with all of it. In fact,
I love this guy.
I definitely don't agree with all of it, but I appreciate the enthusiasm or lack thereof.
Lack thereof?
Yeah, the lack of enthusiasm for Game Pass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's definitely enthusiasm, but a lack of enthusiasm towards Game Pass.
Yeah, I love this comment.
Yeah. I mean, there is a good point here in that a bulk of the games on Game Pass are old games that are past their prime, games that maybe aren't selling so hot anymore, so they just need to have a home. It's kind of like it's kind of like an old folks home for games, kind of, but not really, but you know what I mean? Like in some ways, but then I also think that there are a lot of games that go into Game Pass day one or even third party games. Mm-hmm. Like we saw Pal World do it, it happens.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be an Xbox first party game to take up residence at Tim Howard's house for the elderly. You don't have to be. We all know that. I liked the point in this comment about why am I going to lease this game for 3 months when I can just buy it? What if I want to come back to it later and it's not there anymore? There's no guarantee that it will be. Mm-hmm. They even talked about licenses, and that kind of hit home because of the Forza thing that's going on right now.
Totally. And it makes me want to I don't know why, but I played Forza Horizon 4 and 5 on there, mm-hmm. and they're pulling 4. And it makes me want to scramble and buy a physical copy of 4, even though I don't even know that I ever have plans to play it again, but I like that game so much that it makes me want to have a physical copy of it.
Now, aren't they're making that right, I think, for a lot of people. So if you spent money on Forza Horizon 4, if you played it through Game Pass, but you bought DLC or whatever they have, I don't know what their options were. I heard that they're giving you the game.
Oh, I didn't buy any DLC. I didn't spend any money on it. But.
Yeah, I know you didn't because you bury your gold in the backyard, and Xbox doesn't accept hard currency like that. I get it, but some people did.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure
that is
that
actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. But it's just because they're it's because of some dumb system that we put together anyway, where these car games, mm-hmm. which have licenses that expire and they can't sell the game anymore, that's stupid to begin with.
The license should be for the game in perpetuity.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
It's really weird.
They don't have the license to keep selling the game with that product in it after a certain period of time. And a lot of times it's only a few years.
Does Microsoft Flight Sim have the same problem?
I don't know. I don't think so. But I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I really wouldn't doubt it. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know. I'm pretty sure you can buy OG Microsoft Flight Sim still. So I kind of think no, but mm-hmm. I don't know.
What's the difference?
I really don't know.
I guess car manufacturers are just
Yeah.
hold on to their crap tighter than...
We also see this happen a lot with licensed music. The same sort of thing happens a lot when a game enforces...
GTA's been through that.
Yeah, and GTA 5, I think GTA in general, when it gets re-released, it's really hard for them to get all the soundtrack back. I know, like, when they re-released Vice City, they had trouble with, like, they weren't able to get every song back, and they had to put new songs in. Like, stuff like that happens, for sure. And Forza's got it on both ends, because it's got the licensed cars and it's got the licensed music in it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just 12 years old, so when you said Forza had it on both ends, I started laughing.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm a simple man, you know?
I didn't say it was getting it from both ends, but okay. Moving on, we got a comment from Fish God. Fish God says Nintendo $20 per year.
Yeah. So I was waiting on, somebody with some sense to come into this. And I knew it wasn't going to be Randy.
No.
But yeah, no, I'm kind of joking. Nintendo, their service is a lot cheaper. And we have a family plan and we have it maxed out. Mm-hmm. And we pay like $8 a year. Yeah,
and that's for not even the base. That's for the expansion pack.
That's for the plus. Yeah. So, Nintendo's is a pretty good deal, and it continues to grow with what you get. Mm-hmm. We talked about it last week. It's getting pretty damn good. It really is. Like, if you look through the list of games, there aren't a whole lot of changes that I would make for it to be like a pretty damn well curated ROM list.
It really is fantastic. And it just gets better and better, and they're not removing games. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're putting games in. They're not taking any out.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if that's going to change. I hope not.
I don't know.
They even have Burger Time in the Game Boy one.
I know.
And Burger Time is a game that I got introduced to through Tech Dweeb's YouTube channel. Have you ever watched Tech Dweeb?
No.
Tech Dweeb slaps, and he loves Burger Time. Mm-hmm. And then I played it. I played the ROM, right? Ripped off my original Game Boy cart, and I loved it. It's just a fun little, like, pass a few minutes kind of game. Mm-hmm. It's nothing too serious. They even have that in there.
Isn't it a puzzle game sort of deal? Like, don't you make burgers and...
You make burgers, but it's not really a puzzle. It's very simple. You're walking on platforms, and you can climb up and down ladders, and you're being chased by, like, ingredients. Yeah. And if they kill you before you make all the burger ingredients fall, you lose.
Okay.
I don't know.
I guess that wouldn't be a puzzle.
It's kind of puzzly.
I've seen video. I remember when it got announced for NSO, I watched the trailer about it, and I'd never seen that game before. It was not something I was familiar with.
Yeah, Burger Time is fun. It's very simple. That's a shout out for Burger Time. Go play it. Actually, it's Burger Time Deluxe, the one that's on Game Boy.
Well, yeah, I'll bring us back to our Xbox conversation here. I'd be interested in knowing y'all's thoughts on this. Leave us a comment and let us know what you think about these new Xbox Game Pass tiers, because on one hand, like, I know they got to make money on it, and I understand the price of things are getting more expensive, so I kind of expect prices to go up, so I'm not really upset about that.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm a little upset that they're changing the access to day one games for console players. I think that is kind of...
a little scummy.
It feels a little scummy, so I'm not a big fan of this.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of this change, personally. But at the same time, I know, it's a company. Companies need to make money.
Yeah, they do. And if we will pay it, then they will do it.
That's true.
That's the way the market works. So if everybody ditches it, maybe they'll change. Otherwise, I think this is our new reality.
I agree. And I wonder how high it's going to go before people are tired of it. Because the whole getting tired of subscription things, we are on the brink of this bubble bursting.
We are. Like, the Jenga tower's fitting to fall.
Like, everyone is tired of paying subscriptions. It's now at the point where the old systems of, like, say, for paying for cable TV, we're at the same price. Whether you're paying for a bunch of subscriptions or you paid for cable, you're paying way too much. It doesn't matter. It used to be that it was a better deal. Now it's not. Eventually, Game Pass is going to feel like it's not a good deal anymore if they keep going in this direction.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there.
Because we don't just pay for Game Pass. We pay for PlayStation Plus. We pay for Nintendo Switch Online. We pay for all the things.
Right. A lot of people have Netflix. A lot of people have Hulu. A lot of people have Disney Plus. And it's a lot of it's a lot to remember to juggle them. I do a fair job.
I juggle.
I have certainly forgotten before, but
I try not to keep a subscription that I'm not using.
Yeah.
I try to like with Game Pass, I subscribe when I need it, and then I unsubscribe.
Right. And which means you're not going to be grandfathered in. You're going to be paying these new
prices.
prices.
You got to pay the new prices. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. You really do. There are workarounds like buying keys for, like gift cards for at certain prices, like when it was priced cheaper. Like that's a thing that people do.
Yeah, it is. We have some people in our Discord.
Yeah, and I've done that. I bought, like, for Game Pass, I buy the gift cards through Costco, and they're like half price. So that's a way to do it.
That's not bad.
No. So that's a way to do it.
Anything else on Game Pass?
Nope, not from me.
Okay.
I'm ready to move into our last segment.
But before we do that, I just want to tell you, we're fitting to film a bonus episode after we do all this, where we're going to be talking about Planet Coaster 2. Randy played Planet Coaster 1. He loved it. He's playing Planet Zoo now. Planet Coaster 2 trailer just came out. So Randy's going to tell us all why we should play Planet Coaster 2. And if you want to see that bonus episode, you got to be a YouTube member. How do they do that, Randy?
Yeah, so if you'd like to be a YouTube member, check out the join button on the YouTube version of this podcast. Look, if you guys want to support us, just thank you so much. It really means a lot to us. Keeps us going.
Yes.
And you get a bonus episode every week. So
yes. That was a smooth little transition in the middle of that pitch, too.
Yeah.
How do they do that, Randy? You just jumped right in. We didn't plan that.
I'm ready for it.
Jesus.
All right, but one thing that anyone can do is we have a thing we call the 3 for Dale Club. So what you got to do is just leave us a comment on the YouTube version of this podcast, and somewhere in your comment, put the phrase 3 for Dale.
Yes, we look for it, okay? We scour the catacombs of the comments on these things, looking for the phrase 3 for Dale so that we can thank you at the end of the episode. So, if you happen to leave us a 3 for Dale comment last week, I think you're here.
There you are.
Are you there? Do you see yourself?
Thank you guys for support.
I see you.
Yeah, thank you for supporting us through the 3 for Dale Club. But also, we want to give a special shout out to our YouTube members to thank them for supporting us and keeping us going. We're going to shout them out by name.
Yeah, we are.
We got Heckvetica.
Yep, we got Land installing, some call him Dale himself.
We've got Guy.
And Cataclysm. So we're about to film a bonus episode for these guys.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for supporting us. All right, guys, until next time, I'm Randy.
Which makes me Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Go Braves!